Hello and welcome. This is Michelle with PaperStampInk. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today, where I share all things paper crafting. It could be a card, 3D project, or like today, a gift item or craft fair item. If that sounds like something you don't want to miss out on, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on future videos. Ring the bell notification and you'll get a notification in your inbox whenever I post something new. So today we're going to be doing this little note card using a pad of paper from the Dollar Tree. So very economical project. These notebooks, I've done many composition notebooks in the past, and I had people ask me for things that didn't have lines in them. They wanted to be able to doodle or just to draw without having to worry about how large or small they were having to write their lists. I also had gentlemen asking me for these that they were going to use out in the field so that they could put measurements if they were on like a construction site is what they were asked, the gentleman that asked for them. They could sketch out a design so they didn't want lines. I'll probably do something a little less feminine paper-wise for that. Maybe not a ribbon and a bow, so I'll have a variety of these, but I'm going to put these in a basket on my craft fair table and I'm going to sell them for just $1. So that is going to be one of my items that's going to draw people to my booth, and it's fun. People love to look through a basket of items to find just that right item for their friend or for them personally. I'll have a wide variety of designs and maybe switch up the sentiments, or some of them I will just put a focal image and I might even leave some just plain blank, just let the paper do the work for me. So by putting those in a basket and getting people there, it does two things. One, it draws them in to see what else I have to offer at my craft fair booth, and the other thing is you get 2 or 3 people clustered around, and it draws other people over because they want to see what's going on and what they might be missing out on. And because these are very inexpensive to make, I'm not going to be making a huge profit margin on them, but I'm still going to make a little something, and they're going to be a lot of fun for my customers as well. I look at my craft fairs as a great way to meet people and to share my love of paper crafting on top of making some additional funds. So let's go ahead and talk about the items that we're going to use. So you're just going to need some designer series paper, but the paper that's on the inside is this notepad from the Dollar Tree. So there are 150 sheets in this pad, and we're only going to use 15 of them for this little notebook. So that's going to give us 30 pages in there. So because we're going to fold them in half, so we're going to 30 pages on each side of the page. So you're going to have a lot of paper in there to do some note taking, and do your math on that. It's 10 cents for that paper. Now, if you can't find those notepads from the Dollar Tree, you sure can find something else probably online or cut down some copy paper. This is thin copy paper weight, and you would just need to cut it to 4 by 6 inches. So I have taken this paper and I am folding it in half, and I've already folded the first 13 for us, so you don't have to watch me folding those online. But it's great for doing something when you're just watching a show. It doesn't take really a lot of your mind power to do it. You can keep your hands busy and be working on some gift items or craft fair items. So when you put these all inside each other, because of those inside layers, not there, you're going to have something, the edge kind of uneven there. So they're going to be pushing out those center pieces. And you could leave that way if you like, and that is just fine. I want to tidy those up. I like to have them all lined up neatly when the book is closed. And so I'm going to bring in my self-healing mat, which you might have noticed is I'm using that as my background for my video today. And I'm going to bring in my Tim Holtz clear ruler. I love that I can see through, and it's got all these grid lines on it. And I'm going to use the grid lines on my self-healing mat to just line that edge, the spine up. And then I'm going to use them also to line up the ruler and bring in my finger trimmer. I don't know if that's the technical word for it. I will put a link to that down in the description, as well as the other things that I used in this video in case you are looking for those. Just so you know, if you want to support me, when you purchase through my Amazon links and other links, I really appreciate it. I get a little bit of a commission off of that, and it costs you nothing on top of what your normal price would be. So it's just helps me to continue to buy fun items, to share with you guys, and to do some of the giveaways that I'm able to do on my channel as well. So it takes a few passes to go through with the finger blade there, but I find this to be, for me, the easiest way to do this. And I came in there and just tidied up the top part where I started. My cuts was not all the way through on there. So now we have our pieces and of the plain paper, and then we need our piece of pattern paper, and this is 4 1/8 by 6 1/4. So it's going to be a little bit larger than our paper, just so I don't have to worry about the white showing through. And I'm going to fold this in half, but not with a hard fold. I'm just kind of training that paper to go the direction that I want it to go by having it have a soft fold in there. So when I put it around my paper, it's going to fit a lot nicer on there. So don't get too crazy with it, just a nice little soft crease in there. I'm going to fit my paper in and make sure that it doesn't have any of the white poking out before I get ready to assemble, and I'm happy with that there. So we can go ahead and do our assembly, and you're going to bring in your stapler. And well, first, before I bring in my stapler, sorry, I'm going to round those corners. So I've got a corner rounder, and I'm using the 1/4 inch of my Crocodile. I'll link that below too. If you don't have one of these tools, it's great. It'll chomp through a bunch of sheets of paper at one time. And I'm going to round the cover as well. I found doing that rounded corner helps to keep the edges from getting bent. When you've got a square edge, they tend to get bent up when they brush up against things. And these are going to be tucked in pockets or into purses most likely. So I want to make sure to give it that rounded edge so that it holds up a little bit better. So now I'm going to bring my stapler in, and I'm just going to put 2 staples along that spine. A little tip for you, okay? I used a stapler that was on my desk, not the one I normally use, and so make sure you test where that's going to line up on your spine. So test a sheet of paper, draw a line on it, and see where your staple actually hits. I wasn't paying as much attention on this one, and I didn't get them right on that spine edge like I like. So this one's probably going to be one I'm going to keep for myself, and I am happy with that. So I will enjoy making some notes in that, throwing that in my purse. So you'll see that I didn't quite get those staples right in the middle of the spine, but don't do what I did. Take a little time to get them lined up better. I did with the first one when I used my regular stapler, but it's not horrible, but it'll still work, just not the quality that I like for gift giving, and definitely not for craft fairs either. So I've taken some tear and tape and gone ahead and put that on the front and the back covers, wrapped it around the spine there, and I'm going to peel that off, and I'm using that to adhere my ribbon. So make sure you've got enough space on both sides of the ribbon for tying your bow. I went with a 15-inch strip of ribbon. You might go smaller, but I wanted this to be really easy to tie. I feel like I made the first bow a lot smaller than I would have liked it to be. And if this is going to be something I'm going to be tying and untying frequently, I want it to be easy. You guys know I am not strong on the bow tying front, so I did not want to make my life any harder than possible. So I wanted to have a nice long tails on that to make it easy to tie. And just lining that up on there, and we'll give it a easy bow. I'm not going to fuss with it a lot and make it all beautiful like I would on a card, because again, it's going to be open and closed very regularly on this. And I love that ruched ribbon. I did edit in another cut of a video, because when I got done I realized that that tear and tape was slightly larger then my ribbon. And so there was a little bit poking out. I thought they were the same size, but they weren't. So I am using my take your pick tool. You could use a paper piercing tool, and I'm just kind of poking that tear and tape down under there, and it's just rolling it over and tucking it under the ribbon so I don't have any sticky parts that are going to collect dirt and dust on there. So if you have that same issue, then this is a great fix for it. Or cut your adhesive down. You could use liquid adhesive possibly if you're really light touch, but I find that it tends to want to come through my ribbon, so I like to use my tear and tape. Sentiment I'm using is from that Silhouette Scenes, Keep Dreaming, and you could use a sentiment for a variety of them, or you could just use a focal image, or just keep it blank on the front too. They're beautiful the way they are, but I'm going to go ahead and put this sentiment on this one using my circle punch. You know I love a circle punch. It's so easy because you can just stamp wherever you want and then easily line up that circle to get it centered. And I didn't want to add matting, so I'm just rolling the edge through my ink pad to give it a little bit of distinction on that edge to help it pop off the background of that paper, because I'm not going to add dimensionals, I'm not going to add matting, so I wanted something to make sure that it came out, and I show you that was super quick, so I hope you guys caught that. Showed that super quick on the little bit of touch of color that you get there. So get that adhered down nice and tight, and there we have our little notebook. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I would love to have you come along with me on my 30-day challenge over on my Facebook group. So I'll put a link to that below. We're having a lot of fun recreating projects over there. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. Appreciate your support. And until we meet again, make sure that you grab your paper, stamp, and ink and do something creative.